and welcome to Amethyst Star Crafting. My name is Jane Allmark and I'm a UK independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. And we are now on number 9 of my series, Christmas Crafting on a Budget, where we're looking at one stamp set and making it as budget friendly as possible by making as many different projects out of the one stamp set. So we are on Nature's Beauty. And you can find it right in the back of the Autumn Winter catalogue on page 63. And it is Be a Difference Maker. So £2.50 from every set that's bought will be going towards mental health charities throughout the world and in the UK. So beautiful stamp set, £20, 9 cling stamps in there. And this is the stamp set. You've got the lovely images of the wildlife. So you've got a deer, you've got a rabbit, and you've got a fox. You've got trees, you've got snowflakes, and you've got all sorts of other things in there as well. So today's card, we are going to be making a card using a mat, which is a card base. Let's get the card base out. Card base, standard card, cardstock cut in half, folded in half. Then we're going to have a matte layer, which is a 1/4 inch smaller. So for me, that is 5 1/2 by 3 3/4, and then a white mat going on top like that, which is going to measure 5 1/4 inches by 3 1/2 inches. But however you do your mats and layers, you just need to have a little 1/4 inch mat and then your white on top. So let's take this piece out. And we are going to be working with Smoky Slate, which is a lovely soft grey colour and works absolutely beautifully. So the first piece we're taking out is the snowflakes. So with the snowflakes, we are going to create our background. So you can put it on however you want. And I'm going to take it and literally just stamp right the way across. So creating a snowy background in the Smoky Slate all the way across the card. And then, as I say, we can turn it round and we're going to take it down. And as I say, just work your way through. So it's creating a lovely background just using this one stamp set. Because everything I'm trying to do, I'm just going to add a couple of extra pieces on here. Where there's a little piece off, like that. Okay, so we have a lovely snowy background on there. And let me just take my Simply Chamois and we'll give that a little clean up. So that's going to be our background. And then we are going to use the fox today, because I wanted a really nice sort of wintry scene with the fox. Now, I know we're just using this one stamp set, so we can take any sentiment we want from any stamp set we want. Now, I'm going to use a sentiment which is seasons, still scenes, and we're using the seasons greetings on there. But as I say, any Christmas greeting that you have, you can put on there. And I'm going to just pop that down at the bottom because I want that in the placement we want to start off with. So I'm just lining that up on there, inking it up. And I'm going to ink it in a good black ink because I want the sentiment to stand out quite proud. So let's just put this down at the bottom. I'm just going to stamp one off to see that's perfect. I try and do it sometimes just to make sure that I've got it lined up straight. So I'm just going to put this down at the bottom in like that. There we go. So we've got our season's greetings down at the bottom, which, as I say, it's going to be a almost monochrome, but not quite, because obviously we're using grey and black. But just sort of a pretty simple but classic looking card, which I think again for Christmas, lots of different ideas for Christmas cards is always good. So we've got the fox, and we are going to just take some scraps, any little scraps of white that you've got, and we are going to stamp the fox out again in a good black ink. And you want to do this 3 times. I'm only going to do one because I have actually done the other ones, because they're all going to be exactly the same. And then we are going to use, let me just pop this back in its case. Always try and put everything back as I go, because otherwise you end up in a bit of a pickle with everything everywhere. We're going to take our a little block and just ink up to give yourself a little palette. And then you can use a paintbrush and just some water. I use our aqua painter because it has a barrel that you fill up with water, and just works really very well. So we want to just make this fairly what I call loose, because we're just going to do a simple wash. So I'm just squeezing the barrel just a little bit, just to get a drop of water coming down, and you'll see the water will come out in a minute. And then we can give this so that it comes in quite a nice sort of pale a pale wash in there. And then we are literally just going to wash over the fox. Now I tend to do the fox so that I do his ears, I come down his nose, because he's going to be a silver fox, so the ones that you sort of see in the Arctic. So I'm going to go down over his eyes, but I'm going to leave the little piece underneath where his sort of cheeks would be. I'm going to keep that in the in white, so there's just a little bit of color definition in there. I turn my page as I go, because then I can get the strokes coming down as you would the fur, without doing it very much. Now you can do lights and darks and things if you want to, but this is just a simple way of doing it very quickly and easily. And then I'm just going to leave the tip of his tail white. So I'm just doing this down in the grey, and I'm just doing the tip of his tail like that. And that's all you need to do on there. Now I will clean my brush off just with a little piece of kitchen roll. Very easy. You just literally just wipe it until it comes clear, and then you've got that clear. And then again, very simply and easily, just with your pad, just clean that again up on some kitchen roll. So we now have our little fox. Now what you're going to do is you are going to fussy cut him out. Now literally it's very simple. It's a very simple line on here to do, so there's nothing very complicated. And we're going to cut 3 out. So I've already done those. And so we've got our 3 foxes. So we're going to start putting this card together. So we've got our base, we've got our smoky slate, which I am just going to put down with some glue. I use wet glue because that's my preferred. You can use snail. Snail works quite well. You can use any adhesive that you want, whatever your preferred adhesive is. And you are just going to put the base of this card down. So we have just a 1/4 inch border running through on here. And again, the nice thing with the wet glue is that if you haven't got it completely straight, you've got a little tiny bit of wiggle room. Now we're going to take our panel and we're going to put that on. just put, as I say, wet glue lasts a very long time because you only need just a tiny little bit and it is incredibly strong. So just going to put that in down on here. So you've got your border, which again looks really nice. And then we've got our 3 foxes. Now I just want to have a little bit of what I would call grounding for these foxes. So they're going to sort of come like that on there, in on that side of that angle. And I just want a little bit of something in underneath on here. So we have this rather pretty little grassy bits. So I'm just going to use those. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 2 of my foxes on first of all. So let's put these 2 on first. So we want these to be up at a slight angle. So let's put the first one on like this. You can put it up with dimensionals. Again, I'm trying to make things fairly budget friendly. So if you are posting, the less layers you have, the cheaper the postage will be. I've discovered that, you know, even putting a dimensional on something sometimes will just pop it up into the next layer for your postage. So, you know, I don't like having too much heavy postage on there. So we're going to put the first one just in like this. And we can put him down. Then we're going to take the second one. And again, just by putting things at different angles and different placements, you get a totally different feel. So the second one is going to come in like this, fairly close to the next one and at the same height. So it's like 3 little brothers. And then we're going to put this one in on here. And I might just put him up just with a dimensional. So we want a little bit of grounding on here. So I'm going to do this now because of my placement. So I'm going to just put a couple of little grassy pieces in. So we want the smoky slate. And I'm just going to put, nearly got my head in there, I'm just going to put just a little bit of grass in on here. Just like this. So it's not very much, it's just a little bit to just go over there and just give a little bit of something on there. And then this one is going to come in on here. So we need to just put a little bit down on here. So we'll just have a tiny bit just in on the bottom on there like that. Okay, so on this one, as I say, I am going to put the dimensionals on there because I just want that little tiny bit of, whoops, a bit sliding over, just want a little tiny bit of height. So let me see if I've got my dimensionals out on here, which I should have. I had them out a moment ago and I always end up with bits and pieces here, there and everywhere. Ooh, might have just put them on there. I'm just going to grab myself another new one. I always keep my dimensionals up here and have some extra packets going. So yes, that's what I want. I want the small dimensionals or the mini dimensionals. We do 2 sizes and they're absolutely perfect. So this guy we're going to put up with some dimensionals. So let's just pop one on the bottom there, one on the bottom there, one in the middle. Say the minis are really good because they do just come up at a nice level. I want 2 up on here? Yes, I do. I have 2 just up at the top, I think, just to make sure that it's as balanced as I can. So sure that piece isn't showing. And I'm just going to take the tops off them. Like that. If they don't come off, if you just press with your fingernail in the center, It tends to just sort of help lift the sides up. Sometimes with the little ones, they're more tricky to get off. So there we go. And then we're going to put this one in, just in on the centre like this, in between the two of them. Just like that. Okay, so we now have a rather pretty Christmas card for anybody who likes foxes, or they almost even look like almost like wolves. So you could have it as sort of a, you know, a winter wolf card. But by setting it off at that side, you've got the 3 foxes that side, the season's greetings at the bottom, the lovely snowy ridge, and it makes a very pretty card for Christmas. So simple, elegant. It would work very well for a masculine card, or for those Christmas cards that we're sending to some of the men folk in our life. So Nature's Beauty, £20, 9-piece set. And this is number 9 in my series. So thank you so much for watching me. Do look forward to seeing you again. Bye-bye.